Alright, so at this point everything is pretty much where I want it. What I'm going to do is we have already done all of the cleanup process. So we've already done the eraser tool. We are basically ready for the coloring process. So I am going to, first I'm going to group the eye. I'm going to color that a little bit differently. So this isn't going to be in the same process as everything else. So let's group. And then that is just so when I click everything on this layer, I can just click on this one and that'll go away. So everything is connected. Everything should be united at this point, but let's just unite. And then we're going to come up to Object, drop down to Live Paint, and then we are going to Make, and then we are ready to color. Now, in the last video, I did say, hey, and if I will give you the little shark one, but if you just want to look up Bruce, I just found that one on Google Images, and that's our color palette for this one. And what I've already done is in our swatches, I've already come in and grabbed all of kind of the face color. I've grabbed kind of the blue for the back of the shark color. So I've got some tints, I've got some shades, and we're basically ready to go. So if you have not done that, this would be a good time to just come in and use your eyedropper tool. Very, very simple process. All you just do is take your eyedropper and you're just going around Bruce. Keep in mind I just placed Bruce in there on a new layer, and then I'm just grabbing kind of the main ones. You guys, since this is a three-dimensional character, you guys could go hog wild with it, and that is not the idea. So just kind of grab some main ones. Alright, now I'm going to go kind of the just basics first. Alright, that was easy. Come in here. I think I am going to just go dark first, just so I can see it. And then we will do white. Okay, I think we got it. Object, we are going to expand. Just hit OK. Black arrow, and we're going to ungroup. Usually the magic number is 3. Perfect, okay. So at this point in time, we have just flat color. So what I'm going to do with this one is we're going to start to duplicate stuff out. So I'm going to take my magic wand. I'm going to select the black. I am going to cut it. So Control X, new layer. So I'm just going to title this one black. Lock that one out just so it doesn't paste back, and we're going to paste in front. Paste in front. So this is basically what that color, and I'll just redo this one. Let's color this one, or label this one flat color. And for flat color, I'm also going to duplicate this one out, because that's going to be our gradient layer. So I kind of want, for the gradient, we can separate it, but I do want some bigger shapes. So for the flat color, we're going to start to break those down. And if you ever wanted to come back, we can always just duplicate out that one. So I'm just going to leave that one alone, just so in case I ever want to come back to it, I've got all the flat color. Alright, here we go. Now I'm just going to zoom out so we can kind of see the pattern. I'm going to select the blue with my selection tool. I'm going to come in under the eraser. There's this cool little knife feature, and we have used that in some other tutorials before. And I'm going to start out here. on the outside. And I'm going to come through the nose. And if you guys are a little bumpy, that's totally cool. It will smooth it out, by the way. But if I wanted to kind of give it a little bit more of a textured type of approach, I could totally do that. So I'm going to give it a little more wave on this one. Come through here and try and get to the tip of the tail. Alright, now if I do this correctly, I should be able to come in and select each one of my little shapes. And then we're just going to come in and we'll color those. And we will put some highlights in here, by the way. And then we're just going to color it that way. Boom. Easy. Back to blue. Let's just use our knife tool. I do want a little more black in some of these shapes. And again, I'm bumping. So it will smooth it out, but I'm going to try and, as best as I can, give a little bit of a bump here. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a pattern. Okay. Now whenever you're using the knife tool, make sure you have selected. So notice I select the blue first. Alright, let's go back to black. This one might be a little big, but that's okay. Okay, moving along here. Let's just see if there's any other little things. I might zoom in. Again, black arrow. I'm looking for a little bit of a darker blue. There we go. So now I'm going to come in and start doing some of our cast shadows. And there's a couple different ways you guys could approach this. You could either do it on this layer, if you liked doing it this way. And I might just test this. Let's just test it, shall we? Let's just say I'm going to go a shade darker with that one. And a shade darker with that one. That doesn't bother me. That does not bother me at all. The other option, just so you can tell, is you could put this on its new layer. Make that another shape using the pen tool. And then just color it that way. So then I would do like a transparent color. Select, knife. Sometimes I just like the color method a little bit better rather than adding a transparent gray. I think the grays sometimes turn out a little muddy. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in on the mouth. We are going to do all sorts of stuff. Okay, so for the teeth, I'm going to do teeth and gums. So let's do teeth first. Click, click, click. Okay, back to the knife. Alright, so first thing I want to do is let's just do cast shadows. So I am assuming this guy has an underbite. So I want a cast shadow on all of the upper parts of the teeth. Keep in mind, all this is optional. I'm just kind of giving you some different things to think about. Come in, select, select, select. I don't think I did that one. A little dark. Awesome. So we have first layer. Alright, next layer. So now I'm going to come back and do kind of the top. So again, notice that I have it selected. And then notice that that pen tool is kind of coming through whatever I have selected. I think this one's going to come all the way over here. So notice that it just goes all the way through. Well, let's test that. Okay. Let's keep on going. Select the bottoms. We're going to do a similar process with the bottom. Come through. Okay, I'm going to keep this one dark. Deselect. I'm holding down Shift just so I don't have to repeat each time. Okay. Let's grab these two. Knife tool. Now this one is going to be like the lip is casting a shadow on the gums. Is going to be my thought process on this one. Come on up. Let's grab this guy over here. Let's make that guy dark. Now, just so you guys are aware, when we do the flat color here, let me just kind of zoom out. Everything's going to be fairly extreme. The lighting is going to be a little bit more high contrast. If this is just our sample, but if we do our gradient, this is on a different layer. Bad example, bad example, bad example. Check, check. Okay. So this will smooth out, is the point. So this won't look as extreme as we start doing our gradients. Now you can do, let's not do highlights yet. Let's just kind of save those. What I am going to do right away, though, is when we're doing our flat color, let's go in and do our eyeball now. That's already bothering me. That's going to be black. Let's ungroup. Whites. And then this one will have a dark blue. Okay, so for flat color wise, I'm just kind of peeking to see if we missed anything. We have our teeth, we have our gums. I think I do want to add more gums. come on in. And I just want a little ridge. Little ridge, little ridge. Now whenever we start moving into the advanced and or almost making it look 3D, if you will, this is still going to look, for the most part, pretty flat, but just be aware that there's just way more shading than doing the flat color. Okay, and make that dark. Dark. Okay, I think we are there. All right, decision. So let's I do want to duplicate this one out. Now that I'm thinking about it, let's duplicate the flat color out. Now flat color, we're going to label that one gradient. Let's lock out our flat color. This one, I'm putting the kibosh on it. We're not going to do it that way. But we have it. That's the reason why we do it. Alright. So, big decisions. So now we are doing transparent gradients over our flat color. So just kind of be aware. Let me just get rid of this one so no one is confused. Okay. So I'm going to come over. Let's grab our gradient tool out here. So I'm going to click it first. It's going to look completely goofy. And I think I want to have, we're going to keep it linear. And now we're going to start adding on our highlights and or shadows. Keep in mind we are going to be adding more to it. So right now for the dark I have 0%, so it's basically non-existent. If I wanted more, you could totally do more if you wanted. Alright, so I say it's going to go light to dark. I'm going to come over to my Okay, I like that one. Let's click our belly. Shift, shift, shift. I'm going to click. It's going to stay blue. I don't want blue. Now, totally your choice if you want to add a highlight and or a shadow. Let's add more of a white to it. So I want the tip to be fairly white. Okay, I like that. For this, I might actually flip it. Let's just see how that looks. And that's almost going to be, this is actually not the same light source, or it actually is a light source, it's just the light source that's peeking around. I just want that to be subtle. Okay. We're cranking. Light, light, lights. Alright, let's do some thinking here. Alright, so for the teeth, and I'm just thinking out loud right now, is I want to double check that everything is selected. Okay. Now, I just pulled it off just to double check that I grabbed everything, but do notice that all of what we're about to do is still underneath. So what I am going to do is I'm going to merge all those together. Anything that I think I missed. So notice some of these little guys are in there. Okay. Okay. So I just keep doing the unite, just so it's one big shape. There we go. There we go. Okay, so what we're doing is we have the dark. So I have a dark color over here. That's still at 0%. I could always modify that. And then I have the white. And I believe this should still be a linear. Okay, I like it. So all we're doing is what I'm looking for is shiny teeth, gets darker as we go back into space. I also added a little bit more opacity or transparency to the teeth, just so we still get our nice little shadows. Okay. Good, good, good. Alright, so for just kind of sweeping gradients, I think we're looking pretty good. So now we are going to go to our pen tool. Yes, the pen tool. And now we're just going to start to do kind of our highlights and or our shadows. So the first one, I've got a little highlight on the nose. So let's go to our pen tool. Click. And we are holding. Alt. Okay, so we are going to do whites. For these, we are going to drop 50, and then this one still going to be 0. Okay. Now this is the transparent part. Now things I want to just be aware of is I want the outside edge here, so this back edge, I want that to stay the same color. So all I really want to do is have a subtle little highlight kind of peeking on that nose, and then I have the part that's behind it actually be the same color. So things I am looking to avoid, if I just kind of click off, is I should be looking at this edge right here, and it's nice and the same color. So there's not a sharp edge, and I still get a nice little subtle highlight. And I could always up this, by the way. So if you say, hey, it's 50%, what about 60%? Then it's a little bit more obvious. And then I can always come in, keep in mind, and modify that curve with my direct selection tool. Tight. Okay, looks good. Let's do Zabelle. Pen tool. This is also going to define our lip a little bit. Alt. That's going to come right through here. Alt. Keep in mind I'm holding down my mouse key and I'm holding down Alt. Click and drag. And what I'm looking for is this kind of this real skinny little edge. Now this one's going to be a shadow. Okay, looks good. So we're going to go dark, come over to my gradient tool, and again I want the same thing. I want this top edge really not to have a whole lot of color. Just drag it down, drag it down. Okay, looks good. Go V, let's select, Shift E, and then we're just going to delete the now if we have our, just so you're aware, if we still have our black layer above, our black lines should still be nice and clean. So there shouldn't be any fog on any of that. Looks good. Alright, let's do another one. Let's do a little fin. Click Alt. Keep in mind I'm still holding everything. Alt. And then that's just coming back. Okay. Control Z. I want to do our gradient tool. And this is just kind of playing around with it. I just want this front edge, and then up at the body, I want this line up here to definitely make sure that stays nice, just kind of flows in. If you look at the Bruce picture, it's actually a little bit of a harsher line, but I don't like it as much, so. Tight, okay. Now I want to do a little bit of a bigger one. Click Alt. Click drag. Okay, this one's going to be darker, and we're just going to flip that direction. Okay. Modify that a bit. I'm just using my arrow keys right now. Just add a little more to it. I want linear. I want linear. This one's going to be white. This one's going to be pretty subtle. Maybe just a little. And we'll modify it if we need to. Let's see what happens if we do radio with it. Okay, looks good. I'm actually going to go back to the flat color. Let's lock out our gradient. Okay, flat color, good. And I'm going to take my knife. And I'm just going to do a little slice across here. Cool. All right. I'm peeking for other things to give you guys. That's what's happening right now. All right, so at this point, let's lock you out, lock you out. Now we're just going to be modifying. For the most part, we're done. We did it. Easy peasy. So I still might modify a little bit of some of the stuff, but for the most part, for the demo, I think we're good. So coloring wise, this guy I think was a little bit darker. This guy's a little bit lighter. I had a little bit more of our black up here. It's basically the same process, but for the most part, what I would do at this point, file save. Let's call it a day. You guys did it. This one was fairly complicated, and you guys crushed it, so cool. So keep in mind, keep on subscribing. That does let me know that you guys want these to stay public for outside of the classroom students. So that definitely lets me know. And then also, if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, make sure you guys are putting them in the comment section. I do definitely read those. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys on the next video.